Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Command & Conquer Rivals replay request. MavMitchell has been donating replays since the beginning of these playlists, and, well, it's no different here. We did just see what I call the de facto Nod deck from Ben Ven 2. It's a bit of a different variation here, as MavMitchell has swapped out Venoms into Rifles. So, again, if you see a Rifles in a deck, likely it will be a Barracks start, or Hand of Nod in this case, into those militants first. So, yeah, it's really good for early scouting. You can get a big idea of what your opponent is doing. You could scout out early rushes. It really is just, a pretty fantastic way to go. A lot of the top players have been cutting rifles and militants, but with the recent patch, some of them have brought them back in. So we'll see how they do. SoliDeoGlora, which I'm probably just going to call Sol for the rest of this cast. Also has himself those militants into the lasers. Has a very heavy Nod deck. Very heavy Nod air deck, I should say. Infernos don't get to see too much of these days outside of really Alicia. But Phantom, Banshees, Venoms. I highly suspect Soli will pump out a few Riflemen, maybe a lasers. And then from there, we'll easily transition, because it's only a 2-building deck for him, into early Venoms, and then to protect those Venoms will be the Banshees. And if the game goes long enough, as in, like, he's not really behind the 8-ball by the second nuke, you should start seeing more Banshees. Banshees, I really have to wonder, though, if Soli will even bring out a Phantom, because really there's only one threat from Mav, and that's his own level 11 Banshees. But that's why we'll check it out, and we'll see how it goes here as MavMitchell's first game of this week coming at you.
Establishing battlefield control. 3, 2, 1. New objective available.
Yeah, so Mav starts off Barracks. If you see Rifles, like, you should almost always go Barracks into the Rifles. There's no real point in delaying them. You're going to be using them for scouting, and immediately Soli, who sees the Rifles, or at least I'm pretty sure saw the Rifles, goes straight into the air. Not even going to make his own Barracks. No Hand of Nod here. So Soli will start generating pad pressure, which is an interesting choice. Not doing his own scouting, and this means that Mav is now free to just go straight into bikes. So Soli's going to need to get himself a Banshee out, and a Banshee at this close of levels, I'm not entirely too sure gets the better of the trade. The bikes are definitely cheaper and will survive a long time, because those Banshees have to 3-shot the bike. On a defender's advantage, the bikes can get 3 missiles out and probably get a 4th one out there as well, which means you should just be able to flood them. So this is where Soli is just going to try to keep pressure, make sure that the pad extends in time so he can save up and get himself an Inferno. We'll probably not see it until after this missile, but Venoms and Banshees just kind of doing work back and forth. Even the Venoms, even the level 13 Venoms are doing work against these bikes. So this actually should be... I'm not actually too sure who's going to pick up this one. But that Venom has certainly murdered quite a few of MavMitchell's men there in the middle pad. We got some Flamers now to come with the Commander power of Seth. That will roast Mav alive. And if he can't get the shots on top of the Banshee, he can't. Okay, this should be now over to Soli pretty easily. We got some good body blocks with those flames. Just going to have to sacrifice him, but that was good for the nuke here for Soli. So as he continues to pump out the counters, it's going to be just a lot more Venoms and Banshees. Mav does pick up his own air tower. So we're going to be fighting fire with fire. We're going to get some Banshee on Banshee action. I'm still curious where this next Inferno is going to be. Flamers up into the top left. That's really early for Mav. I'm not entirely too sure if he's just trying to draw attention up there, but holding that pad with those Flamers just feels like a diversion tactic. Now we do finally got those Infernos out. Inferno goes for the bike. Probably not the best to target. Soli actually not microing that Inferno either. And Mav is avoiding all of the 2 shots here and getting some extremely good trades. Those Infernos are only got 1 shot off each, and they're 100 Tiberium to pop. So this puts Soli in a very bad situation, because while this pad hasn't exactly been charging, He's way behind when it comes to this Tiberium, when it comes to some more of this value. So now Mav is actually going to be throwing some of these flamers here into the middle, and that's just mostly to prevent anybody from walking on top of them. The flame's now going into the top left, not going to work out very well, so Mav just kind of threw that away. The Banshee up into the top left would do much better. And this should actually be now 2 blue and a yellow, which means that Mav should be striking this missile back because Soli has no units out on the field. Those Infernos really just put him behind. Losing out that Harvester on top of things, that's going to be a great boon to Mav. But at the same time, this is pretty much the death knell. Soli, with no Harvester, is not going to be able to keep up this Air Force, and his rifles will not win against these flames at all. And even if we want flames coming out of Soli, he has to spend 70 Tiberium to get it done. So this does feel pretty wrapped up, unless there's going to be some kind of big mega change. And I'm not seeing any kind of like Infernos or Phantoms to come out by any means, then yeah. That should be that. Bikes will last a little bit longer, but there's no pressure on the top right pad. Doesn't even matter. MavMitchell will wrap it up against this Nod Air Force deck.